Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to be unpacking a really fascinating topic that gets right to the core of success. We're looking at the architecture of a wealthy mind and why rich people think so differently from the rest of us. Now, as we go through this, I want you to keep one absolute game changing concept in your head. True wealth always, and I mean always, begins in the mind way before it ever shows up in your bank account.
So let's kick things off with a question I'm sure we've all asked ourselves at some point, right? Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to build wealth no matter where they start in life, while others work incredibly hard for years, literally grinding away day after day, but never really seem to get ahead? Man, it is a frustrating reality to watch.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the answer isn't really what it looks like on the surface. At first glance, you might think it's just luck, maybe a privileged family background, or landing some crazy high-paying job. And sure, those are the assumed reasons. But when you study highly successful people up close, you start to notice something much deeper going on. We are going to totally dismantle that illusion today, because the real reason, the absolute greatest advantage successful people have over everyone else is simply the way they think.
Here is the blueprint for today's explainer. 1. The illusion of wealth. 2. Redefining money and time. 3. Learning and calculated risks. 4. Discipline and long-term thinking. And 5. Building your wealth mindset. All right, section 1, the illusion of wealth.
So here's the absolutely crucial point. Like we said earlier, wealth begins in the mind before it ever appears in a bank account. This is the foundational premise for everything we're looking at today. It's not just some catchy bumper sticker slogan, it is a mechanical reality. Changing how you think directly alters how you act. And honestly, those daily actions are exactly what ultimately change your financial future.
Moving on to section 2, redefining money and time.
There is a massive, massive difference in how people view their money. So many folks see money as the final goal. You earn it and then you spend everything you just made because, well, the money was the finish line. Wealthy people, on the other hand, they see money strictly as a tool. Instead of blowing every paycheck, they're constantly looking for ways to make that money create even more value down the road. It's basically a seed to be planted, not just a prize to be consumed right away.
And they think about time entirely differently too. Just think about it for a second. Every single person on Earth shares the exact same 24 hours in a day, right? But while a lot of people view their free hours as something to waste or just kill, successful people fiercely protect their time. To them, those hours are their most valuable assets. And assets need to be invested, not just spent aimlessly. So how exactly are they investing that time? Well, they deliberately avoid wasting hours on stuff that doesn't move the needle for them. Instead, they pour their hours into 4 key buckets: learning new things, creating real value, building strong relationships, and improving their health. Every single hour placed into one of these buckets is an hour that compounds and pays massive dividends later on.
Section 3, learning and calculated risks. One major difference you'll find in top-tier individuals is their relentless focus on continuous self-improvement. I mean, they literally never stop learning. They're always reading books, binging podcasts, learning new skills, and above all, they stay fiercely curious. Why? Because they understand a fundamental truth of the world. Knowledge can open doors that money alone simply can't.
Now, risk is another area where their mindset totally stands out. When faced with uncertainty, your average person's instinct is to just hit the brakes and avoid risk completely. They want to stay perfectly safe in their bubble. But a wealthy mindset, it recognizes that absolute safety just leads to stagnation. They know that to achieve real growth, you have to be willing to embrace risk. But, and this is a big but, specifically calculated risks.
Now, what's really interesting here is that successful people do not chase reckless, wild risks. That is a super common misconception. Taking a calculated risk means you actually gather the information, you prepare carefully, and you fully accept that real growth requires stepping outside your comfort zone. Actually, scratch that. It's more like expanding your comfort zone. It's all about being highly prepared for the unknown, rather than just jumping into it blindfolded.
All right, section 4, discipline and long-term thinking. Guys, this is exactly how real wealth is built. In today's world, everyone wants that overnight success, right? But let's look at the actual process. Step 1. It starts with small, daily improvements. Those unglamorous, quiet, behind-the-scenes improvements. Step 2 is years of consistent effort. Not a few days, not a couple of weeks, we're talking years. And then step 3 is where those tiny things finally compound into extraordinary results. Those improvements might not seem impressive on day 1, but long-term thinking is absolutely the biggest differentiator of the wealthy mind. And to keep that long-term effort going, gratitude and discipline play a massive role. Successful people genuinely appreciate what they already have while still working toward those bigger goals. But here is the real secret sauce. They don't wait until they feel motivated to do the work. Motivation is super fleeting, it comes and goes. Instead, they build ironclad habits that literally pull them forward, keeping them moving even on those really difficult, totally uninspired days.
And finally, section 5, building your wealth mindset.
So, here is your actionable roadmap. The great news is you can start developing these habits right now to shift your paradigm. Start reading just a little bit every day to build up that knowledge base. Dedicate yourself to learning one highly valuable skill. Commit to saving and investing consistently. Remember, treat that money as a tool. Fiercely protect your time from everyday distractions. And lastly, stay patient. Focus on steady, daily progress instead of paralyzing perfection.
It all comes back to this. Wealth begins in the mind. When you change the way you think, you slowly change the way you act. And when your actions change consistently, your future changes too. It's like a direct, undeniable pipeline from changing your mindset to completely overhauling your financial reality. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. The question you should be asking yourself isn't, how can I become rich overnight? That's just an illusion. The better, much more powerful question to ask yourself is, what mindset can I build today that will create success for years to come? Stop looking for those overnight riches and start building your lasting foundation today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me to explore the architecture of a wealthy mind. I'll catch you in the next one.